Wellness Show, episode number 396.
Welcome to the Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. Welcome to the Wellness Show on Health, Wealth, and Enlightenment, and we're live with you for the next week for 1 hour every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time, to answer all your questions on dowsing and energy healing, what's up in your life and what's up on planet Earth. And today it's a busy, busy day. The sun is shining here. The cherries are nearly ripe. The corn has been planted. It's not as high as an elephant's eye yet because it just went in. Buys them at an auction. So she intercepts the truck that's taking them to the slaughterhouse. So we're going to go see all these horses. Some of them are mares with new colts. I'm excited to go and see them. I think there's about 20. Yeah, busy, busy, busy day. And we did Divine Mother Energies on Universal Healing for Abundance last night. 2-hour presentation or channeling or Divine Mother energy. So it was really powerful. It's been busy, busy, busy here. Anyway, welcome to the show. I know that we're going to have a phone in fairly quickly from our astrologer to see what's up on planet Earth according to the stars. And I know today's topic has to do with Divic energy or fairies in your garden and your farm. And we're going to be taking you over and introducing you to one of my favorite dowsers. His name is Patrick McManaway. We have a couple of his courses in the academy. Michael and I met him at Olds College in Alberta and got to video working on farms and gardens, not only in England, Canada, but Australia and the United States of America. So where is our astrologer? Hopefully she will phone in.
I don't know.
I don't know either. So what's up in your life there, Miss Laura?
Well, good morning, Tyson. It's
Good morning to you, yeah.
good. It's a good, beautiful Monday morning here in Wisconsin. I had a wonderful weekend. I did some house projects around here, and so I got a little bit of soreness going on. You know how that is, right?
Yeah.
Using muscles and things that I hadn't used for a while. So it means that I need to get out and walk some more.
Yes, wow, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But it's been a good weekend. How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was good. It was busy, and we also had a little party down the neighborhood there, and we all stood around 2 campfires. We got to walk from one campfire to the other across the road. We have a new neighbor who's pretty awesome guy, and also Vicky who's moving out. So they hosted a party, and we had a good time meeting all the neighbors. Yeah.
Awesome. So Kory is here. She's over by Michael
She's over by Michael.
in the participants.
Oh,
So
she's a participant.
she's
Okay,
a
that's great.
participant today. So
All right, good. Well, she made it. All right. Let's just bring her on then. All right. Welcome, Kory. Come on. We're having her come on now. We're just waiting for her to show up. She's invisible right now. Watch her manifest right before your very eyes. Yoo-hoo. Where are you? Oh, you've got all of you need to unmute and turn your camera on.
oh, she's gone. Oh yeah. Oh, she's a co-host now. Good. So
Well,
in your
I'll
bottom left
get her to
corner,
work.
Kory.
So
Your
Kory, turn on your camera and turn on your sound. We're waiting for you.
Move your mouse around a little bit. You'll find them.
Down in the left-hand corner. So yeah, farming and using dowsing is pretty exciting. I just got a message from one of my clients who's been working with his son, and they're in court, and it's been really going through a difficult time. And well, he started to do the deep clearing protocol and getting really good results for him and his son, and just got hold of me this morning. And he said that he was doing agnihotri and every morning, and that was really helping him stay clear And I was really excited and got back to him about how important it is to use that as a technique. So I'm going to talk about that this morning as another way of preparing the vibrational frequency of your land. Here she comes here. Oh, there she is. Okay. Welcome
Hi,
to the show, Kory.
am I on? Can you guys see
You
me? Can
are
you hear me?
on. Yes. So what's up with you? You got lost in the ethers.
Oh, that's not uncommon. That's not uncommon.
Well, we found you anyway. We came and rescued you right through Mercury retrograde and all that planetary upset and burps and cosmic whatevers. We found her. So here she is.
Technology is a very strange thing, don't you find? Like sometimes it works, and other times when you think you've got the pathway, you know what you're doing, it doesn't work at all. So
I don't relate to any of that stuff. I'm just going to go clear through all this crap. No, I tried to do that anyway.
What do we got for the week, Kory? I'm excited to know what we have to look forward to.
well, there's all kinds of events happening all the time, but I wanted to just start sharing with you folks something that I think is really, really important, and it's a statement I would just like to make that I think concerns everybody, and that I think you have to be. I don't know. I think you have to be deaf, blind, and stupid not to see that we are at a precipice in our evolution. There is a shift we're all going through on a truly on a planetary level now. And I really feel like we're all at a precipice. And I just see it everywhere. I see it in the fact that people are losing their sensibilities. They're, it's kind of like, like a dress when it starts to tear.
Oh,
Laura, like it just starts, it's like the thread before you
Unravel.
know it, your dress has unraveled. And like
Mhm.
you go, how the hell did this happen? And I'm
I know,
just
but I got to get that needle and thread out. How do we get the needle and thread out, girl?
no, people aren't even bothering to darn. There's no more darning going on. There's no more of that. It's just,
naked in the world. That's the way to go.
what's that?
Go naked into the world.
I like that, Tyson.
Oh.
That's a good metaphor. That's a very good metaphor. Walking naked into the world, and that's truly, I think, where we're all at now. Because
All right, let's get
there's
going.
there's take it off, girl. Take it off.
You first.
Well, first of all, I just want to, share with people like it's okay to feel fragile. It's okay to feel like you're unwinding, you're unraveling. And then on top of it all, we do have Mercury retrograde still, which is just synonymous with everything RE. Every word you can think of that starts with RE is in the domain of Mercury retrograde. So
What does
basically,
RE mean? What do you mean RE?
RE like rethink, redo, reprogram.
That's what I said I did all weekend. I redid my this. I redid my that. I'm redecorating. Awesome.
Yeah,
Just a rear.
I'm a rear.
yeah, yeah. We're definitely doing the RE thing.
All right. Okay.
So this is what I want to share with people. So if you can really see in your life where you're going back into every bloody room in your house and you're redecorating, if you are taking your car apart, if you're going and pulling your hair out, this is part of, it's just not Mercury, but everything is building upon everything else. We are in this time period, and it's because of so many things, but all I just want to tell people is just hang in there. There is hope. Um, we are moving through very discordant times, and everybody should be in therapy. Everybody should be getting their charts updated. Everybody should be going to see their practitioners for their mental health. You can't get through this period without it. Everybody needs to get some supports in place because these are really difficult times. I'm a Taurus. I've got a Scorpio ascendant. I don't
My
pussyfoot
good
around.
God.
I tell people the way it is. I mean, I'm happy to sprinkle the fairy dust, but I'm a realist. I'm a Taurus through and
You
through.
got that head down with those horns. Look out.
Well, I've got my feet firmly on the ground.
That's for sure. And you're just a scratching and a pawing. And then that Scorpio. Wow, that's hot stuff.
Well, yesterday I did 4 kilometers in my bare feet around the track, so
Oh my geez. Oh, good grief. Right.
it feels good.
Were
It
you
feels
naked though? Were you naked?
Well, my feet were naked, Tyson.
All right, good. Yes, that's a good start.
So I was firmly grounded. Okay, so here's some information that I think will be helpful for today. It started yesterday, and today has this wonderful feeling of beauty and imagination. So if you have been redecorating, it's just natural that everybody would be wanting to do this. Or I shouldn't say everybody, but there's just been this wonderful energy for really getting in touch with beauty. There's a really strong Venus Neptune harmonic that's in play at the moment. The moon's in Libra. So it's all about really finding more of a finesse, even though we are still in troubled times, bridge over troubled water, all that stuff. So get out there and I'd say redecorate. Find something beautiful in your life that you can just play with today because it started yesterday.
Yeah, that sounds great. I
Now,
guess for me, one I want to tell people, I don't know if this has been backed up by any of the planets, is you don't need to have an opinion. You don't need to take a side. Everybody wants to take a side right now.
yeah.
And
Well,
they're getting entrenched even more and more and more. It's like digging your own grave.
yeah. Well, it's just the way that we tend to be on the planet, Tyson. And we're a very polarized species, as you may have noticed.
I never
You know,
noticed, but I was wondering if that has any planetary influences that are heightening that.
yes. I think I mentioned this last week. Okay, I'll mention it again. We've been in a Jupiter Pluto contact since
Yeah.
basically February, and it's coming together right now powerfully. And Jupiter and Pluto is about huge shifts in awareness. It happens every 13 years. I mentioned this last week. Every 13 years, these two planets will come together. Jupiter's cycle is 12 years, and then
Yeah.
you have to add another year for it to catch up because because Pluto is moving, everything's moving. So the Pluto Jupiter contact is intense. It makes for huge shifts in global finance. This happens every 13 years. And it's actually coming together tomorrow. I mean, to its exactness. So what that does is it makes people um, pretty cut and dried. It's kind of like the worst characteristics of Sagittarius. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Do you know Sagittarians? They have an opinion about everything. And you can't argue with them, even though they're supposed to be philosophers, right? The Sagittarian archetype says, I know everything.
I have Sagittarius rising, so I can't relate to that.
That's also why you're tall, Tyson.
That's it.
But I'm balanced out by Libra. I'm a Libra.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh,
Thank goodness.
the balancer. Yeah.
Because the Sagittarian quality always wants to expand. And the Libran quality always wants to make nicey.
And what about the Aquarian?
I'm expanding nicey.
Well, I have a moon in Aquarius, so the Aquarian energy is the strive for social justice. It's the need to have a sense of community, and that's why it's called the kind of the universal element. It's the humanitarian sign because it means yes, lay down your weapons of war, lay down your opinions, and just let's all try to get along here. So,
Why
good news
can't
for
we all
you.
get along, right?
Good news for you, Tyson. The moon has been in Libra for the last couple of days, so you've been at your best actually in the last couple of days. Have you noticed this? You've been
Yeah, it's
feeling good?
amazing. When I'm doing the meditation, it's just like, we're talking about garden divas and energies in the garden. We've been doing some work with the elementals there, and it's just like when I tune in energetically, it's just all lit up. It's just like there's light absolutely everywhere.
Oh, I get the
I like it.
tingles.
I like it.
when
I
you say
want
that.
more. I want more.
Yeah.
Dancing with the divas in the garden.
Well, that's not only because the moon is going through your sign. Like a lot of people don't, well, I hope they do. I hope they know their chart. But your moon sign is even more powerful than your sun sign because your moon sign just says really who you are. When you take off your clothes and you look in the mirror, that's who you are. Your moon
Sure.
energy is your home base. It's like that's who you are when no one's looking, when you're not trying to impress anybody. That's just you hanging out with you. And your moon sign, you get a nice little power cycle. I call it the power cycle. When the moon comes home to the moon every month, that's when you get lit up.
Wow. Wow. So I'm going to go look at the angel energies for this particular day in the as in the Libra part of the moon.
Right. So for tomorrow, the moon's going into Scorpio. So for Tuesday, June 30th and July 1st, Wednesday, the moon's in Scorpio. So if people out there have a moon in Scorpio, you guys are all going to get lit up and you're going to get your way. When you go out, we're all allowed to go out now to restaurants, right? So if you go out and people want steak and you want sushi, guess what? You're going to a sushi restaurant. because
Everybody-
your moon's in Scorpio, you have that inner sense of like, no, this is home base for us. This is what we got to do.
That's really scary because I was married to a triple scorpion. And to think
And
that
you
they-
survived. You survived.
I did, barely. Can't you see the scars?
That's a fascinating combination.
It
Wow.
is. It was powerful.
Yes, I have an astrologer friend who's a triple Scorpio, and she's just, ooh, she's like from another galaxy.
Fire
The way,
everywhere.
the way she works.
Well,
Well,
if
it's
my
just
moon is if my moon is in Taurus, then I'm the bull when I'm naked.
Oh, I never would have noticed that. No.
Laura, you have a moon in Taurus? Well, that is what we call exalted. It's the best place for the moon to be. And people who have the moon in Taurus really never go crazy. They never go nuts because they are so grounded. It's like I take my Taurus sun energy and siphon it through the moon in Taurus, and I become a goddess. So you're a goddess, my darling.
Well, that
The
I
moon-
know.
Well, the moon in Taurus, even for men, and you have an incredible memory, don't you?
Me?
Yes, because
Like
the
a-
moon,
Like
the
an
moon-
elephant. Yes.
the moon in Taurus is able to retain, and some of the most amazing savants and really smart people have the moon in Taurus because it really helps. The moon energy is a lot about your brain and how your brain functions, and people who have very strong moon placements have an amazing retention ability. So I used to teach. I was a public school teacher for many years, and I noticed this right off the bat. The kids who had the moon in Taurus, they could just remember anything. It took them a while, but they never forgot it.
Yeah, my brain didn't come into like its full experience until I was in my 20s. Then it really opened up. But when I was a kid, I was kind of not very
Yeah,
smart.
no, people think you're slow, but you're not. You have a kinesthetic way of learning. And when you
Mhm.
have a kinesthetic way of learning, you have to physically do stuff or your body doesn't remember it.
Yep, exactly. That's why wherever I go, if I go on a trip somewhere, I can always get back there. On
Absolutely.
the road, yeah.
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 And one of the things I wanted to also mention, and I'm very happy if anybody wants to call me, I'm going to be available for about the next hour, just because one of the most important things, and it's one of the simplest things in astrology, is watching the moon cycle. And we're in the first quarter phase now. And when you're in the first quarter phase, when you go from the new moon to the first quarter, it's a time of action. And if you have this in your chart, if you are born under a first quarter phase, you link up with your natural rhythm. And if anyone doesn't know their moon phase, I'm happy. Give me a call. I can find it out in like 5 seconds. But it's
Well,
really
I have a
important to
question
know.
for you.
It's really important to know that because
Yeah.
we're in this first quarter phase, and it's a time for all of us to get our butts in gear, basically. Because the first quarter moon phase is when people plant. It's when all the farmers get out there. They're up at 4 in the morning planting and working the fields. It's an old agrarian cycle that works, and it works on us.
And
So
that's what we're talking about today too, is exactly that, is farm and garden. So I have a question. If the first quarter is we set the intention, we plant the seed, and for it to sprout and then come to fullness and the full moon. But you're saying that each one of us has a moon cycle. So if our beginning quarter is different than this quarter, does that throw it off? Like, do we need to plant or do our intentions differently? Or
yes, it does. However, we are all influenced by the generic cycle of the sun and the moon right now.
Yeah.
So we're all influenced by the new moons and the full moons. Trust me, you guys know that.
Yeah.
But your own personal moon cycle phase, you need to
Yeah.
know that, Tyson. So Well,
Yeah, well, I'll get hold of you because it seems to me that from the from the collective, we need to know how to plant according to the moon cycle that you're talking about, because we're all influenced by the moon. But on our own individual moon cycle, we need to be familiar about that because the rhythm could be quite different, right?
exactly. I'll give myself as an example. I'm born in the last quarter phase of the moon.
Yeah,
So the moon takes 29 days to
right.
go from new moon to new moon. Well, I
Right.
was born in the last quarter phase of that. So my personal power cycle doesn't come until the moon is 3/4 of the way through.
Oh, I get you. Okay, got it.
See?
Yeah, I
Whereas
understand.
maybe for you, it's going to occur. So you said your moon is in Libra, right?
Yeah. No, no. Wait a minute. No, I'm a Libra.
Okay, so your sun is in Libra and your moon is where?
I don't know where my moon is. All I know is I'm Sagittarius rising. I
Oh,
say
good heavens. Tyson, you have to find out where your moon is.
I have no idea.
Mine,
Laura,
mine is
Laura-
that my sun is in Aquarius, my moon is in Taurus, right? How do I find out?
Oh, my darling, you and I are opposite. You and I are the exact opposite. My moon is in Aquarius and my sun is in Taurus. So let's use you.
Oh,
Laura,
okay.
let's use you an example. Your sun's in Aquarius.
Yep.
And your moon is in Taurus.
Yep.
Which means you were born 1 week after the new moon.
1 week.
So you're a first quarter. You were born during the first quarter phase of the moon.
Okay.
So manifestation should be relatively easy for her to be conjunction with the ordinary way in which we manifest.
Well, no, right now, because we're in the first quarter phase,
Yeah.
Laura is totally synced.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So every month, Laura, when you get the first quarter moon going on,
Okay.
so you wait for, so here it is. You find the calendar, you find the new moon, and then you go 1 week forward.
Okay. And then what?
That's your power. That's your
That's
power.
when you make your
That's
intention.
you've got about a 2 to 3 day power zone. That's just unstoppable.
That's when you say Tyson and I are going to become billionaires. That's when you say that, right?
Well, you can definitely, I would certainly be setting intentions.
Right.
Whereas I'm the opposite. I'm born in the third quarter, so I have to wait another 2 weeks for my power time to come because I was born in the last quarter of the moon.
Okay.
As
So
the
how do you find out when this is? Like where,
You
Well-
use a calendar.
like
well,
what day?
you have to either have had your chart done by an astrologer or take up my offer. I'm saying to people, if you want to give me a quick call,
Girl, I'll give you a quick call.
No, but you have to do it after the show.
call me in Edmonton, Alberta, and I'd be happy to look it up for you
After the show, everybody.
after the show, not now.
Not now.
But I'll
After
be
9.
available for about an hour to do that. So
After
just
the
give us a
show.
call. Yeah, but you have to call, and I'm happy to do that for you.
Well, I think this is exciting, and thank you very much for teaching these things, because most people don't know that. And guess what? If we could all learn to be in harmony with this and with the moon cycles and be able to manifest, we could create heaven on earth if we all got in sync. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Well, even if you experience one of these days every month, I have people that when they experience these link ups,
Yeah.
it's like they just kind of feel like they're eating strawberries and ice cream. It's like, oh my God, it feels so good. They get into that slipstream because you're getting into this natural gestalt, this
Right.
coming together energy. So let me quickly just go on. So Tuesday, Wednesday will be fantastic for most Scorpios. And then by Thursday and Friday, actually, there's a very important event happening on Thursday. The planet Saturn, which has just been creeping into Aquarius, it's just got a little toehold into the sign of Aquarius. It shifts every 2.5 years. Saturn is retrograding backwards into Capricorn. So we have a lot of retrograde energy going on in the sky, which again is part of why people are so, unhappy and miserable and trying to change their lives because they know things have to change. And when Saturn goes retrograde like this and back into Capricorn, it just means that you have to get a larger perspective on your life. Like you just can't be playing small anymore.
Um,
No more playing small for people. And also there's a very low tolerance for excess. People are starting to like trim down. Like be a lot of people going on diets, physical fitness programs now because they're just tired of all this excess. So
Makes sense.
that's a
Yeah.
real trend that's coming in by Thursday. And by Friday, I just want to say to people, Friday, Saturday looks fantastic. There's some wonderful energies in Sagittarius that are happening that'll make people feel like, they've got
Good,
that.
because we have 4th of July this weekend here in America, and
Yeah.
and none of the fireworks are going off, so people better feel good about that. I don't know what's going on, but we've never not had a 4th of July, so we will see, especially on a Saturday.
Well, I think, Laura, people are going to have their own fireworks because there's really lovely energy kicking in by Friday, Saturday. And a lot of it has to do with like how you make yourself happy, how you nurture yourself. And so people
Yeah.
are going to find ways to do this. I mean, we're all pretty good at knowing what we need, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we do, yeah.
So don't we have something coming up on the weekend? Isn't there some sort of astrological alignment or something?
Well,
What's going
there's another eclipse coming up
That's
next
what
week.
I'm talking about, an eclipse. Yeah. When's that? Isn't that Sunday?
Uh, the eclipse is actually on the 5th.
Oh,
So
it's
when
on the
is
5th.
that?
Yeah.
Is that Sunday?
I think it is.
Yeah. So there's an eclipse coming up, and I'll be talking about that next week because we've still got a lunar eclipse that happened on June
Yeah.
in this month, June the 5th, and then we had the solar eclipse. So I think people are almost eclipsed out. I don't know if anybody can handle more eclipse information at the moment.
Yes. So we're in the rewind, re-roll, reconfigure, redecorate, whatever. We're in the re stage.
Yes, and one other point I'd like to make is that there is a very strong social responsibility energy coming forward on July the 1st. And so we're going to see people taking to the streets again. Wednesday could be a very proactive, well, I suggest people get together anyways on a Wednesday to enjoy this particular, it's a harmonic, it's a special blending of the sun and Saturn. And
So it's not going to be crazy energy. It's going to be harmonious and lovely instead of um, burning and destruction. It'll be good.
well, I see it as more again social responsibility, very civic oriented kind of energy. So people will do with it what they will. And remember, we are in that first quarter, which agitates people. So people aren't exactly singing kumbaya at the moment. They really want
Do I,
some
so do
change.
I agitate people if I was born in that first quarter? Oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Laura, you are a natural rescuer. You are one of these people that should have been a fireman. Like you just want to run and get in there and
Hell, she starts the
save
fire.
people.
I know, I'm like, be a fireman. I'm the one. Look at me over here.
That's right. She's a pyromaniac. What are you talking about?
Anybody born, I'm making a very general, like
Okay.
patent statement, general patent here. But anybody born in this first quarter phase that we're in, like right now, they're just amazing people who can handle crisis. They're
Oh my
crisis
God,
oriented.
that's what we're at.
They're on the planet to really help people get their act together.
Yeah, she's a butt kicker. No doubt about that.
Well,
Absolutely, Lauren. People don't mess with you.
well, that's not a
Watch
lie.
that finger. Watch that finger. Watch that finger.
But I was also born to a king and a queen too. I mean, my mom and dad were no small.
No small fry.
No
They
small.
weren't. No, my mom.
Wisconsin, no small potatoes there.
No,
Yeah.
the sun. I'll make a statement about your combination. The sun in Aquarius and the moon in Taurus is what we call one of the executive combinations of sun and moon.
Mhm.
They are executives. They're born executives. They know how to tell people what to do.
Bossy.
Snap! I'm saying, just
Way
listen.
too much information for that girl.
I have the answers. Just listen to me.
Watch that hand. Watch those fingers. They're pointing.
Tyson.
All right,
know.
Kory. Okay, Kory, you have to go now. You've created way too much trouble.
Oh, all right. Anyways, guys, have a wonderful weekend and enjoy. We'll have a
Oh,
wonderful week.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know it, but July 1st is Canada Day. July 4th is the U.S. holiday. July 1st is our holiday.
Yeah, we're
awesome.
always
I'm
ahead of
getting my
you guys.
haircut.
Always ahead of you guys.
I'm getting my haircut that day. I can't
And
wait.
again, if you want to give up my phone number, I'm happy if someone wants to call and
Yeah,
find
well, give
out
her your phone
their
number
moon
right
date.
now.
No,
What is
she'll
your phone
give it
number?
out. I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna call her. She's don't give
After
it out.
already
the
know
show,
yours.
or after the show, what's her phone number?
I don't know.
What's your
Give us
phone
your
number,
phone number, honey.
Kory?
Well, calling from the U.S., you'll have to dial 1, and then area code. I live in a province called Alberta,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
and
That's
I
just
live
very
in
proper.
a great town called Edmonton, and the
Oh,
area
wow, that's
code
where
up
my
here
sister
is
is.
780
Okay.
239 0789.
And will that
Now
be
we know how to find you to
international?
get back on the show when you get lost again.
Yeah, could
Oh,
happen.
Well, Kory, thank you ever so much.
You're
You
welcome.
set us up for the week, and we're going to be talking about garden divas and divas and angelic beings on the farm. So it's a really good setup. You're talking about this is the time to plant. This is the beginning of the lunar cycle.
Absolutely.
It all fits. So thank you very much for helping us understand more about that. We're all Looney Tunes. I mean, we're Looney Tunes. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
And enjoy it.
All right. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Kory. Thank you. See you
You're
next
welcome.
week. Oh, I just love that part of our show. I'm
You
so
too,
glad we
Thiel.
have her now. That's
Just
fun.
way too much power going on there. That's what it is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
okay.
I can feel it going to your head, but that's all right. I'm a big boy. I can handle it.
Dude, I was born with this power in my head. It's not
I
going
know.
anywhere. It's already
I
been there.
will never stop.
I can't help it. I'm just gonna say
I
it.
know, and you're going to run with it. Okay.
Well, you know.
So let's talk about dowsing and farming and agriculture. So Laura,
What? Say that again.
agriculture. Okay, we talked about the moon just right now and all this time to plant, right? And I was talking about that there was this man who got hold of me this morning talking about how he and his son are empaths and how he's doing agnihotre every morning and it's bringing him a calming influence and how excited he is to realize that he's an empath and he's not responsible for all the emotions he's feeling. This is a big step for him, right?
Yes.
And he's in court and he's worried about losing, losing his son, right, in the courts. So this is a big change for him. So agnihotre is being able to use an alignment with the sun energy. So how you do that, this is an East Indian ancient ceremony where you honor the rising sun and the setting sun. So you're up first thing in the morning and you do it by having a special container that's like a reverse pyramid in copper, and you can either be burning a cow dung because the cow is sacred there, which is dried cow dung, or you're burning a wood, and that flame at sun rays and sunset creates an atmospheric energy that is palpable for the whole area in which you do it. And we had an East Indian friend who came here and did this consecutively for a number of weeks, and you could feel it in the garden. He was, he's from an East Indian family, so he was able to do all the chants too. So you'd be able to chant it. So agnihotre is what it's called. And I'll just share the screen so people can see a bit about what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
If I can find it here.
You will.
So that they'll get a sense of what I'm talking about.
Where do
So
we get upside down pyramids made of copper?
you can buy them online.
Okay.
And I have one myself. And so here it is. Can you see it?
Yes.
So this is a fire ceremony they do, and they do it all over the world. So if you can imagine everybody doing this at the same time, that you're creating a vortex of energy because the flame is transmutation, right? It's like the phoenix. It's transmuting everything out of the air. It's cleansing the whole air with the fire, air, earth, and water, right? So it's one of the major elementals for transmutation in your garden or in your farm. So when you do this ceremony, you're cleansing the air. So this is a very good site here, agnihotri.org.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put it in the show notes. So agnihotri is a healing fire from the ancient science of Ayurvedics, and Ayurvedics is part of working with Divine Mother and that whole lineage. And when we do Ayurvedics with Divine Mother, the energies are really palpable as well. It's a process of purifying the atmosphere through a specifically prepared fire performed at sunrise and sunset daily. Anyone in any walk of life can do agnihotri and heal the atmosphere of her own home. Thousands of people all over the world have experienced that agnihotri reduces stress, leads to greater clarity of thought, improves overall health, gives one increased energy, and makes the mind more full of love. It's a great aid to drug and alcohol de-addiction. Agnihotri has also nourishes plant life and neutralizes harmful radiation and pathological bacteria. It harmonizes the functioning of prana life energy and can be used to purify water resources. And language at the time of creation. So it's very, 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 very ancient. This goes back actually before the creation of religions, right? This is one of the first things that man did in order to honor something greater than himself, was the creation of fire and worshiping with an open flame at sunrise and sunset. And so there's something magical about this. It says sunrise and sunset biorhythms match our own biorhythms. So it's a way of you stepping into the slipstream that Kory was talking about this morning. You know, how glorious it feels when you're one with the divine flow. And this is one of the ways that you can do the divine flow in your garden and in a farm, right? Okay. Or even for your house. So there you are. That's agnihotri. I wanted to talk a bit about that. So what do you think of that? Have you ever heard of that, Laura?
I had not. That is actually new information for me, which doesn't happen very often. So I'm excited.
It is exciting and it's powerful. It's palpable. Like you'll actually feel, because you're an empath, you'll feel the sensitivity of the atmosphere when you do this. Okay, I wanted to also then go back and talk a little bit about the farm and garden.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about, I think I'll do this one first. Maybe we'll do this.
What are we doing here?
Well, we're going to do subtle energies and dowsing and agriculture. I actually want to do the other one first. So this is Patrick McManaway, and he's a British dowser. And we had the opportunity to film him when he did a presentation in Alberta. So this is online here in the Academy, Dowsing Farm and Garden. This is part of the whole boots on the ground geomancy course of how to work with the energies of the land, how to work with the divas, the fairies, and all the elemental kingdoms. So we're just gonna do a preview here. So here goes.
One thing that I would say, and that I will emphasize in this presentation as well as in the others that I give this weekend, is that I believe that first principles and the most basic understanding of our practice is the most important, because we can always get into layers of complexity and detail when we're making an application based on need in any circumstance. But I've always found in my own learning, and certainly those with students and apprentices, that a really secure grasp of basic first principles is really the most useful thing. Because once we're in the field, we're often on our own. How many people have had a lonely moment when they're out dowsing? And is it really something that I'm finding, or am I just making this up? It can be a little bit lonely in the field for a dowser, particularly when you're doing tangible target work, spotting a well or a borehole. knowing that there's going to be thousands of dollars invested in it, and also one's own reputation. So often we find ourselves in rather exposed and lonely circumstances when we're working in the field as dowsers, and obviously organizations and moments like this where we can come together and share stories and talk about our successes as well as our failures, as well as things that are difficult or challenging for us, tremendously supportive and important. One thing that I would say and that I will emphasize in this presentation as well as in the others that I give this weekend is that I believe that first principles and the most basic understanding of our practice is the most important, because we can always get into layers of complexity and detail when we're making an application based on need in any circumstance. But I've always found in my own learning, and certainly those with students and
All right, we'll stop it there. So the nice thing about Patrick is he approaches working in a farm or garden and from a very analytical, straightforward, no fuss, no muss approach. There's certain criteria that he does on the land to establish the working relationship between nature and humans and the animal kingdom or the plant kingdom, depending on whether it's a farm or a ranch. And you may think, well, who cares about that? I mean, it sounds pretty, mystical or woo or everything. But look at the results here. He has extensive experience of working with dowsing and subtle energies on farms in the US, UK, Australia, Canada, increasing yields, fertility, and the health of crops and livestock. Green fingers and plant whispering came out of the greenhouse and garden and go to work in the fields. He has developed and refined the use of subtle energies and extended sensory awareness techniques to work creatively with nature's spirits, intelligence, and enhanced resilience and fertility in soils, crops, and livestock. But here's where the proof is in the pudding. Dates to result 20% increase in wheat and potato yield. I mean, in your area, Laura, could you imagine these sorts of increases in yield?
That'd be amazing.
Increase in sorghum yield, 50% reduction in calf mortality, 60% reduction in mastitis, increased numbers of beneficial insects present, increased frost resistance in early crops.
Hmm.
And how to learn how to get these results, click here. So this is the introductory one here, dowsing in farm and garden, right? And then we have a day-long workshop that he gave as well. So Patrick is really amazing. Like I said, he is the past president of the British Dowsing Society. They take their dowsing very, very serious. And you don't say these sorts of things unless you can back them up. So I highly recommend, if you are a farmer or a gardener and you want to learn how to do this, that this is a great way to start. And also, it's a precursor, or not necessarily a precursor, but it's part of what it is that we will be talking about on Boots on the Ground, which is all about how to work with elementals. Let me just see if I can find the other one that Patrick's here. So I'm just going to share the screen again.
Okay.
So this is Patrick, but this is the day-long workshop here. Subtle energies and dowsing in agriculture, and this is available in the academy as well. And I think this is the one that Michael wanted me to actually play. So 3.5 hours of instruction, so it's really well worth checking this out. Okay, how to work with the energies in the garden. All right, this is of course part of the Boots on the Ground Geomancy 12-month certification program, which is for, if you're interested in being an earth steward, earth spirit healer, geomancer, which is geomancing or working with earth energies, handmaidens of Gaia or doulas of birthing the new earth. This is a course that you like to participate in as we go through learning how to work with Divine Mother and her divine energies, a relationship with Mother Gaia, how to work with the angelic kingdom, and particularly the Seraphim blueprint, the Mayan lords of light and time travelers, the landscape angel of place, how to work with landscape dragons, the Diva kingdom, the Ferry kingdom, the elementals, and much, much more. You'll learn in this course how to live in harmony with the earth, create an abundant and sustainably supply of food, water, and shelter, work with all levels of creation, identify and release trapped earthbound spirits, clear geopathic stress from properties, buildings, sacred sites, Clear properties and buildings that are to be sold to ideal land stewards, how to create a safe and healthy place for people to live, work, and play, how to find the most appropriate locations for human activities and structures, how to work with nature to improve the productivity of farms and gardens, and any other earth healing skills that you would like to learn. So yeah, and people have been getting great results out of this program, and particularly Crystal. She was the first one through. Here's Crystal Schmidt, and she says, "I plan to continue to expand this process of opening chakra points along this massive circle where she lives. I'm very excited about this. And the oak tree in my front yard has been ringing. I'm truly amazed." So there's something that happens with trees when they commune with nature and humans, when the energy of the place begins to increase, they actually start to ring. There's a vibrational frequency of the trees vibrating that you can actually hear them. So that's why the books are called about Anastasia. They're called the ringing cedars. They're actually the pine trees that actually ring with this high energy and actually can catch on fire because the energy is so strong. The ringing cedars, they vibrate with frequencies, which is really important here because we just discovered that now we had a pine beetle, we now have a fir beetle. So all around us, well, not around us so much, but just down the road from us, they had to cut all down the hundreds, if not thousands of fir trees because of the beetle. And we don't have it here. I didn't even know what's a problem. So I've been working with the devic energies so that we don't have that affecting our little forest here. We're surrounded on two sides by forest, and actually the strata itself is surrounded on all three sides by forest and one side by the lake. So I would like our trees to be able to be in place because they serve a boundary and protect us from the north wind, which is what you want to do in a landscape, is to be protected by the north wind, have a southern exposure so you get the maximum light for your garden. So working with the devic and angelic energies is really an exciting way to go to increase your livelihood as a farmer or to increase your production in your farm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I gotta say, in our garden, by doing coning, we're now doing the medical assisted program, which is how to work with Pan, the Great White Brotherhood, the angelic diva of the landscape, and the fairies in the elemental kingdom. I personally can feel the difference in our garden. It's just something like somebody turned the lights up or a rheostat on the light. It's just brighter. There's more energy. It's more vital. It's just incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So speaking of these things too, we've had Brandy, Carpenter, Thiel. Do you know her?
Yeah, I certainly do.
So she's asked for a clearing because today is Monday, structural clearing day, right?
Right. Well, Brandy, I hope you and your family are doing well, and I hope that she's got amazing kids. They're all psychic. She's gone through a lot of ups and downs. So I love you and your family. I hope you're doing well. I hope your mom's doing well as well. And so let's just do a clearing for everybody.
Do you want the address or?
No, we're gonna do the clearing for everybody's request there. And don't forget, my preference is, while I am doing this for you, if you really want to have the intensity of it on your particular place, please use the model of how I've showed how to do it for other people, the wording for your own personal clearing for your land. Print it out and paste it in so I can review it, and then you can use that over and over again, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I, Tyson Bennigan, my I am presence, this is the Divine Mother, or Divine Father, and the source of all that is, undertake a clearing of all the land that's been mentioned in the Dowsing and Energy Healing Closed Facebook group, all of that, the land so far that's been stated and will be stated over this week. And we clear it from all geopathic stress, all discordant vibrations from any and all sources, known or unknown. We clear any and all stagnant water and any other residuals, core fractures, toxic emotions, from any and all sources, known or unknown. We clear any of the patriarchal or matriarchal lineage lines that may be have trapped energy in the earth itself that may be adversely affecting everybody that lives on that property. And we undertake this clearing throughout the multidimensional levels of reality, throughout all time, space, and dimension. And we clear all of these buildings, properties, and locations back to prime creation, the point at which they were created. And I declare it so in my holy name, so be it. It is done. Thank you. So there's still a lot of action here, so I should probably let it come to rest before I start talking again, although I can talk over it while it's still working.
Mine's still going too really fast.
Yeah. So geopathic stress is basically a human trapped emotion that's locked in the land. It's like somebody, any discordant energy from murder, mayhem, rape, pillage, slaughter, war, any violation of the law of one, which is do harm, in that particular area of the landscape is trapped in the land. Okay, it's like Mother Earth creating a receptacle of the karmic load that humans have created on the landscape. So even if you're cutting trees down or you're doing crazy things that are are out of harmony with the law of one, which is, the law of one is do no harm. It doesn't say just humans. We're talking about all of creation. So when you harm creation in one area consistently, there is consequences karmically that get locked in the land, and it'll affect everybody in that area. And now if there's a fault line that's running through there, say there's a mine and there's a fault line that's been created, say from dynamite or explosions, that fault line goes into the community. That trauma that happened in the land will follow that fault line. Everybody on that fault line will have the same disease and disorder. So for example, say it was cancer, everybody on that house, on that whole area of lineage or on that line will have the same experience. So this is earth radiation. And this is saying here that research in 11,000 people in more than 3,000 places in 14 countries, how geopathic stress, and that's the energy of humans locked in the land, affects sleep, health, and school performance. And it has everything to do with disease and disorder, right? So the longer you're on an area, so for example, there's a picture of somebody's, I don't know if you can see that, bed. And you can see the lines going through the bed, right?
Yep.
So if that was geopathic stress, you could, those lines going through there would be primarily affecting the heart. So everybody that had their bed like that or had their chair that they sat in their office that way would experience heart problems, okay, because it's going across the heart region. It's really quite straightforward information in the sense that, hey, you mess up with Mother Earth, she's going to kick your butt. She can't help it. I mean, it's nothing personal. It's just results of karma, right? Equal and opposite reaction.
Right.
So as geopathic dowsers, we want to go clean this up. We want to remove the tremors. We want to remove the disease and disorder. We want to remove the earthbound spirits. We want to remove the curses and incantations. So for many cases, spirits have been trapped in the earth as earthbound spirits by voodoo and curses. When you curse somebody, you can lock that spirit right into the land. So releasing them, some of these are like multi-generational, particularly where there's places like war, where there's been one side against the other, and all that trauma gets locked in. And it takes over 7 generations to get that out of the system, right? So the children of 7 generations are affected by the original catastrophe or trauma.
Which makes sense in some parts of the world that continue to be war ridden all the time.
All the time, yeah, all the time.
So Debbie Etzel has a question. Any insight on why, when the weather is when? How about an insight when the weather is going to cool off, or barometric pressure drops, or we get some humidity. My shoulders and neck ache, and I can barely lift my arms today. It is 56, windy and cool, much different than 106 and 11% humidity.
Well, if you did agnihotri, or if you did ceremony, or if you talked to the overarching landscape diva for your property or for your bioregion or your watershed, you can change the weather.
Is that, but what if like the government is messing with the weather? What does that do?
Well, what that does with harp, harp doesn't play sweet music. Harp is stations around the world that are harp, which are sending a vast amount of electricity into the ionosphere and changing the weather, right? And so that areas that should get rain are super dry, and it's heating up the ionosphere, which is where the difference between the ionosphere and the earth, the negative positive charge, is what creates the electricity which impregnates the earth. When we're talking about the divine mother and the divine father, the electrical energy of the lightning is impregnating the earth, which is the divine mother, the womb, for the fertilization of the earth. And when you disrupt that, you disrupt all the crops, all the production, all the rain, all of the cycles of cooling and heating. And because they're trying to modulate using that as a war to steer hurricanes or monsoons or kill crops in a different country. I mean, it's insane. When humanity interferes with Mother Earth, they're messing with a dominant energy that can smack you down so fast and so hard you will never get up. And that's why we have volcanoes, we have earthquakes, we have all violent storms, and we will have a polar shift if we don't behave ourselves. This is the results of karma, the direct karma between humans and nature.
Right.
It's something that our mamas never taught us. We never learned it.
Our mamas would never have known to teach us this.
Well, my mama never knew, but I gotta tell you, every mama should know, right? Because the big mama, which is Mother Earth, is gonna spank your bum if you don't get this understood, right? Pretty darn quick. So we're creating this chaos for ourselves. We'd say acts of nature. Nah, there are acts of nature, but we're directly responsible for them.
Right. But on that note, we're coming to the end of our show today.
Oh my goodness.
I know. It went fast today, didn't it? We had so much good information.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we talked about the moon and why it's important to know your moon cycle. And we're talking about all the re's in your life: regurgitation, reagitation, recycling, rebirth, recreating, regeneration, retribution. All the ERs are happening on this week. So stay clear. Clear yourself using the deep clearing program. Also, remember, you're in alignment with the rising and setting sun by doing ceremony, like doing your morning salutation with your yoga, burning incense in the morning for sunrise, sunset, meditating, doing agnihotri is aligning with the solar energy, which is the divine father, masculine creative energy, and bringing it down to Mother Earth, which is a divine feminine, connects you into that slipstream of being one with all. And who doesn't want that? And ciao, baby. See you tomorrow morning.
Let's do it again tomorrow.
All right. Bye for now, everybody.
Bye now.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.